broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
I don't like you. I really don't like you. I really,
that was the worst lip syncing I've ever done.
If
you're watching this on YouTube. I'm your host, Jacque Borowski, and with me is Susannah.
Hi, you guys. You can find me on Twitter at Susannah_Kim.
And Blake.
Hi, everybody. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Blake McIver.
And Michelle.
Hello, everyone. You can find me on Twitter at Michelle_Cullen.
And you can find me at 123Jackie_B. That's Jackie spelled JACQUE. I didn't choose that name, so it's just spelled like that. We start off with Season 2, Episode 7, Love and Death. Gallivant died in the last episode.
Oh, he did.
And so now it's our team's job to bring him back to life. So they end up at this crossroads where we have the Red Keep, the Grove, Portlandia, and Sporin. I feel like we've seen the Red Keep before on a sign or some other, maybe it was Winterfell or something like that.
Winterfell for sure.
Yeah, because they're Game of Thrones fans. So
I did like the little Grove shout out too.
Yes,
where he said they have an Apple store.
They have an Apple store. If you're not from LA, the Grove is a shopping center in, I guess it could be defined as Hollywood. I think it's more like Mid-Wilshire, but
yeah.
Yeah, people just say Hollywood. It's not really in Hollywood, guys. The Grove, it's not. But it's where the farmer's market is, and yes, there's an Apple store, and there are a whole bunch of other stores like Topshop, and there's a bookstore there. Bookstores still exist. So yeah, we did appreciate that joke, but they decide to go to Sporin, where there's a healer named Neo. He's Neo from Sporin, which this joke I did not get until I was reading a review and literally saw it written out Neo from Sporin, and then I was like, ha ha ha, much delayed laughter. It was clever, guys. A little too clever for me.
I'm sure you appreciated it more, though. You're like, ah.
You had to work for it.
I see you there.
I kept thinking Neo from The Matrix, and I was like, Neo from The Matrix? Why is he Neo from The Matrix? I don't know. That's what I kept thinking. And then they're obviously spoofing off of Princess Bride, where they... he doesn't exactly look like the healer from Princess Bride, but they're in that kind of like cavern, cavey situation. And we keep waiting. I feel like this. We keep waiting as viewers for a Princess Bride reference because we know it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
It's been set up like that. And then we have Sid asking, oh, is he mostly dead? And he was like, that's not a thing.
It's not a thing.
It's not a thing.
So we've clarified that. You can't put like the fire thing that you use to fan a fire when they put it in his mouth. In Princess Bride.
Right. Yes.
The old-timey fire thingy.
Extinguisher.
I used to know what that was called.
Stoker, right?
Okay,
The
okay,
stoker of the fire, wasn't it?
Yeah. If we just keep doing this hand motion,
right.
someone will
Not helpful to the iTunes listeners.
No.
But
sorry, everyone.
So they decide that Neo tells them after singing this song and pretty much, I guess, trying to get out of helping Gallivant because he's lazy. That's how I read it. He sings this whole song and about how Gallivant's gonna die, and Gallivant is pretty much dead because he sang the song for too long. But he says there is a chance to revive him. He's come up with a potion, but it requires something super rare, which is the hair of a 40-year-old virgin man.
Basically, like a white hair from the beard of someone, of a man pure of heart and body.
And of course the unicorn comes along. Right! Kills me.
Just points right at him.
Oh my god.
Hi.
And Neo's wearing is like, look, a unicorn. Have you ever seen one? That's so cool.
And so finally, Richard has to admit that he's a virgin, and because he was going to, just for a second there, let Richard die, let Gallivant die. But since Gallivant's his bestest friend of all his friends.
Besties.
And the unicorn called him out.
And the unicorn really did call him out.
You can't come back from that.
Yeah.
No.
So they make the potion, and as Gallivant is in this in-between state, we get this song about how he's basically going to the other side. Let's see, who did I...
Death's big number.
Yes. Death's
I love when Death gets a big 11 o'clock number in the beginning of the show.
I wrote the actor's name down, but Eddie Marsan. He's a British actor.
Okay.
He's on Twitter as well. But he, so they have the big number with Death, and then they have all of the people coming in. We even had Madalena coming in, and he was like, "Why are you here?" And then he wakes up right as Richard and Bobby are going to have their first kiss. And so, of course, Bobby's like, screw you. You couldn't have woken up just a little bit later.
I did love that
30
moment.
more seconds.
Yeah.
Just
exactly.
Really?
Yeah. I do love that Death number, though.
The Death number, the brides, the dead brides,
Yes.
backup dancers, the showgirls with their veils. Oh my God, I was dying.
Dancing.
And for the Galabella fans, it was nice to see them together again, Galavant and Isabella. But it was also nice for me because I do feel like, I mean, Karen said how small that like jewelry box room was. And so I feel like she literally needs to be like let out and do things. So every time I was seeing her with other people, I'm like, oh yes, she gets to interact.
She's not in the pink room anymore.
Yes, exactly. I felt happy for her that it wasn't as short as the scene we had with the world's worst best kiss.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was also nice.
They still didn't get to make eye contact though. He looked at everybody else and didn't look at her.
That was sad.
What does it mean?
What does it mean?
It means die in a fart, brown cow.
I've never made a fart joke in my life.
Sid knows.
Was it in that, and now I forget, was it in that scene that he realizes that there's been a misunderstanding between the two of them?
It's during that song when he's dead.
Right, that they realize that there's a misunderstanding. So now we know we've used this wonderful plot device that I feel was like a little bit like the last episode where we had that, like, what is the forest of convenience or whatever it was?
The forest of coincidence.
Yes. I feel like it was a little bit like that where we're like, if we stick this in here, we can at least explain to Isabella that he still loves her. And I did like that he's like, I've never made a fart joke in my life. And so then we have real live Isabella back at the castle in Hortensia, and now she is planning, basically she's planning to fight Madalena and Gareth's army. So she goes and she needs to find the I keep thinking armory. Yeah. I was thinking weaponry, and I'm like, that's not the word I want.
And she falls into this gig by like an elaborate game of Not It.
I love that.
No, it's great. Yes!
Oh my God, I love that.
That was great. Right after what was the game they were playing? Guess the Future. I love it. He's like being a plane. And then she's talking about how the battle will be aired and like you should DVR it. Right. And she's like, guess the future. It's part of Guess the Future. And I liked that little plug that they were like, Sunday, January 31st. So that was
perfect.
cute. It's perfect because they can use it for a plug for the final episode.
With the save the date,
with the save the date. It's perfect. So they do the elaborate game of Not It, and she loses, and so she has to lead the army. And I love that her dad is like, I can't lead an army. I suck at that. That's why we lost in the first place. And you're like, there you go.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Recognizes his fault.
Yep.
Yes.
So.
And he understands his faults. Yes. And I keep waiting, though, because I really do like the changing of the guard, the very elaborate changing of the guard. I'm like, why aren't they changing the guard in this scene? Just because I really love it.
Just all the time.
Right,
Do that big dance number.
Yes, and the whole time they're chatting the changing of the guard, the changing of the guard. Oh, I don't know why, but that just tickles me. So she goes in there and finds out that his armory is literally kids' toys because he's a kid. So her cousin is a kid, so he spent all the money on toy horses and toys
and chocolate
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that chocolate axe.
That was
it
great.
looks good too.
It just ripped right into that.
Great. And it was so wonderfully, it was so Gallivant because it was so Gallivant meaning the show because it was so wonderfully random. It's like he's like breaking it off and you're like, okay, I get it, it's a prop. And then he starts eating it and you're like, what? So now she's faced with, okay, at the end of this episode, what do I do next? I have no weapons, so what do I do next? So we start season 2, episode 8. We learn at the end of episode 7 that Neo has created a zombie army, which we did read in spoilers did happen. So I was so excited about that. I was like, Gallivant has a zombie army. It's awesome. So the zombie army has this great Grease number, basically.
It was Summer Nights. It was just straight up Summer Nights.
It was straight up Summer Nights. I love that we had Bobby and Richard basically have sex for the first time, and so then after we have the Summer Nights number.
Tell me more.
I know.
Tell me more.
I really loved that. I thought it was just cute. And then we have Gallivant having all these problems trying to lead the zombie army because I love this because it's not like, I don't actually watch The Walking Dead, but it seems like all of these zombies and zombie TV shows and movies are really like, even though they don't have brains, they're like somehow coordinated enough to like form an assault or to like fight you. And I'm like, this is really how I feel like zombies would be.
Yeah.
They would be like
just a mess.
Coordinated and a mess.
Totally.
You had one scene where the zombie, like they're processing forward and the zombie literally just like hits the tree and cannot move on.
It's like, go around.
And just keeps trying. That is what I would assume. Like, that's always been my problem with The Walking Dead. It's like, if the only plot device is you can just walk faster and then you don't die.
Right.
Like, that's not exciting to me.
No, me neither.
Walk faster than the zombies.
It's true.
You know,
end of story.
Hocus Pocus,
yes,
which is another Disney
classic.
Film.
So good.
I don't remember the name of the one zombie ex-boyfriend, but that to me that Billy, yes, Billy. To me that embodied.
I watched that 20 times. To
me that embodied what a zombie was, though. It's like he's kind of uncoordinated and he's not too clever and he's like losing his head literally and his pieces are falling apart and you're like, yeah, he's scary because he's a zombie, but at the same time you're like, but he's dead and falling to pieces, which is exactly what this army was like. I was like, that's awesome. So the zombie army responds to love. So Gallivant has this huge speech about how he's doing this all for love. Apparently, I guess if you're a Walking Dead fan, do any of you guys watch Walking Dead?
I do.
Okay, can you maybe speak to this? Because I was reading these reviews and then there was a tweet that it's like, zombies love love, who knew? And then somebody in an article was explaining how The Walking Dead is all about love, which is like weird for a zombie story, but is that what The Walking Dead is like? Or
about love?
Is this any like sort of reference? Oh, my mic just...
Okay.
I mean, not that I would say that it's about love. I would say it's more about survival.
I would say it's survival and loyalty. And
right.
Loyalty and love in a survival situation can often be interchanged.
Right.
Because if you're willing to, risk your life for this person, it's construed as love, but it's really just, no, we've stuck together through this and we know how to survive together. So I think there's kind of two different tangents you could go on.
Right.
Okay. Because I was really, they were like, oh, this is a Walking Dead reference to the fact that the zombies are so loyal to Gallivant. And I was like, okay.
Maybe the loyalty. I don't know about the love, though. I definitely don't see the zombies in Walking Dead, charging for, romantic cause. But,
they respond to loud sounds, but
somehow you're right. So I guess, if you want to go that route.
It's a stretch.
Right. So we have Isabella going to Madalena's army to basically surrender because she doesn't have any weapons, and so she's like, okay, we're gonna negotiate terms of surrender, and Madalena gives her these horrible terms of surrender, and the Jester's like, well, what other choice do we have? We have to do this. And then her last one was that like basically she's gonna make Isabella her like female servant, and she has the crown of Hortensia, and she's like, and you're gonna have to polish this and it's mine now, which is Isabella's mother's crown. And so she's like, oh hell no. And so then she says that she has the one true sword to reunite them all and the warrior for the one true sword, which then leads Madalena, because Gareth is saying that he's like, we can still fight them, I have faith in myself, we can do this. But Madalena decides to join the new cult Dedue.
Oh, Dedue.
The dark evil way. And I love that they explain that it has to be dark because it's that dark. Mm-hmm. But we as viewers know that you can't just have them saying do the do without like copyright infringement.
Right.
So Dedue. And I also like how it sounds. Not that I don't want to stereotype voodoo and say that voodoo is unfortunately associated with all of these dark things. Voodoo does have some aspects of that, but like any other religion, it has light aspects as well. And so I like that they're kind of like referencing like voodoo almost, without being too, I guess, horribly offensive in its references. I also like that scene where she has to she's confronting what's his face, the wedding planner. Wormwood. And Wormwood has this baby, and she's like, I can't kill a baby to join Dedue, but I guess I will.
That was so dark.
Yeah.
I loved it.
They went there.
Was so funny.
Yeah. She's like, you want me to kill a baby? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the signing in blood. Like, you can
like,
use a quill.
Yeah.
It's fine. A quill is
Step
fine.
away from the child.
Yeah, I don't want you near this baby. You're actually kind of making me uncomfortable. If you could just go now.
Yeah.
I do like that it's also like a little group there where he's like, you're going to really love everybody who's a part of this. You know, like you're joining a new club or something. I like that too. So she joins Dedue, but Gareth doesn't know about it. So I have a sense that'll bring about some tension in the future.
Oh, yes.
Especially because they were having a lot of tension in these past episodes.
Yes.
With
feelings.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Those feelings.
Yeah.
Well, they decide to get married, and he professes his love for her, and she's like freaking out. And so there was that one scene where he gets down on his knee, and she basically like kicks him because she thinks that he's proposing.
I'm trying to do me boot up. I was like, what? What are you trying to do?
I love his accent. And then they have that whole scene where they speak through the army.
That was great.
I also love how in the army, one of the main guys who's in the army seemed to be about like 85 years old. I was like, what is this? What is this army?
Like, just anybody over 18 is allowed to fight.
Right?
They need everyone they can get.
I know. But the most important question is, where's Tad Cooper?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like we had this whole importance behind him, and now that Richard is having sex, he's just tossed
Abandoned Tad.
Oh. It's depressing.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I really want Tad Cooper to turn out to be a dragon. I do.
just coughs a little flame.
Yeah,
the very
that'd be
end
awesome.
of the last episode.
Yes.
Just-
What if Madalena accidentally does some Dedue very poorly and makes Tad
and
Cooper a
turns
dragon?
Tad into a giant dragon.
That
I
would
like
be
that.
awesome.
I
would like that too.
Yes.
And where are Gwen and the chef?
Right? That's what I was thinking.
They pieced out for real.
They were like, we out.
They're wandering in that desert outside of Hortensia.
They took a wrong turn.
They're gonna end up right in the middle of the conflict, I bet you.
Yes,
like they're just gonna be
probably.
strolling thinking, we finally made it back to the forest, and it's gonna be like right in the center of the war.
I feel like they're going to meet up with Sid.
Yes.
And those three are going to try to do something heroic that might go askew.
In the forest
I have,
of convenience or coincidence.
Yeah.
Later on, I have some actual like spoiler predictions.
Ooh,
but we
that's
have,
exciting.
We had Sid leaving because he felt so bad about killing Gallivant, which
To be fair, he went like one joke over
yes,
the joke. Yes, he died, and that's harsh. Like, he got stabbed by his squire, and that's a tough thing to overcome. But giving him constant crap is not going to help repair that bridge.
Yeah.
So I understand why Sid left.
It was so in character for Sid too, because it's like you so buy that he's like not able to get over this.
yes,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
yes, because that was his whole life. He was like, I'm gonna be a squire to this great knight, and then he's worried about his job and Gallivant's dying.
I did like that where Neo was like, well, at least you've got your priorities in check.
Right.
And I liked we had the catfight song between the two girls, and we were saying this before we came on air. I'm really happy that Karen got to sing a pop number.
Yeah, we got to see her her pop rock voice.
It was kind of like an ABBA-y pop number.
Yeah,
I really
totally.
liked that.
That's what it was, yeah. I was like, I can't figure out which musical this seems like. Yeah, that's
Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia, yes. You're
Which
right.
is funny because Karen was actually in the original.
Yeah,
she
so
was Mamma Mia.
Sophie.
Yep.
That's amazing.
But we were also saying how much we love the outfits in that number.
Yes.
I mean, Madalena has this great, like, Maleficent neck thing going on.
She's like chainmail braided into her hair.
Yeah, into her hair.
Yes.
So fabulous.
That was so cool.
The whole leather corset thing going on.
And
Fantastic.
Karen has this, like, cool pirate skirt happening. And then, yeah, I really loved that. I was like, I love that she has, like, this body armor, but then she's got this basically not a skirt.
Yeah, it's like ripped kind of.
It's
slit.
trendy.
Yeah,
it's real
super
trendy.
cute.
And they worked in the
Super cute.
choreography. I loved it.
Yeah, into it.
And we had that scene where it actually reminded me of the chef because she's bringing everybody into the square to kind of say, what weapons do we have? And one guy's like, I have a really pointy potato. And I'm like, oh, I miss Gwen and the chef.
That's the moment when I was like, where are they? When are they coming back? It was the potato moment.
Yeah. Because all they had were, like, kitchen utensils and
pots
food.
and pans.
A whisk.
Yeah.
I'm going to whisk you.
I mean, I was like, why don't they have any brooms or pitchforks? What happened to the...
Yeah.
You know, they probably do. They probably just didn't think of it.
Probably.
No.
Just going for the
Or
other
even,
things.
like, breaking chairs or something. I was like, come on, guys. You can be more creative than
Yeah,
this.
throw a brick.
I kept thinking of the angry mob that goes up to the castle in Beauty and the Beast.
Oh,
Because,
absolutely.
like, you know, they were villagers. They found random stuff.
Just grab stuff.
True. Fire.
Yeah. I mean, at least fire.
Yeah.
If we're going to have a Game of Thrones reference, we could have fire. So, unfortunately, the ratings for Gallivant have been super low, which is a bummer because this show is, to me, I was saying that it reminds me of Pushing Daisies, where not that the themes are the same, but in the way that it's really quirky and it's really unique and very special. And Pushing Daisies only got 2 seasons, and I was like, it was robbed, because it was something that you don't see anything else like it on television. You don't see anything else like Gallivant on television. And I'm really enjoying the songs. I enjoyed that last song where they go, they basically reprise the "It's a New Season," but it's like the dark version of that.
Yeah.
And
Like war is coming.
Yeah.
yeah, and we had that breakup between that very odd. I was like, this breakup is just so odd because it's like we've emphasized that they've had sex, and then we've emphasized that they're having sex like all the time, and then all of a sudden, it's like, well, I can't watch you die because you're gonna die. And instead of, she's a better fighter than him. So to me, logically, it would be like, okay, will you stay and protect him then because you're an awesome fighter?
Right.
Yeah.
Like that
The
would
logical choice would be to go with him.
Right, go with him and protect him.
Yeah.
You know? And so I was like, okay, this is so...
Which is the female empowerment moment that I felt like we were building up to.
Yeah.
So to have her, there's got to be some reason. There's got to be some device coming in the last 2 episodes that she
Right.
walked
There
away
has
so
to be.
easily.
Yeah.
I
Right.
guess this is a goodbye, I guess. What?
Yeah, it was
no.
a random, like, to me, it's like, it's too random to have her just be like, okay, now I'm going to go live with some cats. And I'm like, I understand that you want to have conflict, but it seemed too random. And that whole scene where she's, like, following the camera, I'm like, is this just supposed to be something that was funny, or is it something that we're trying to show that she's making a point that she's leaving so that something happens later on? And part of me is like, does she know that he has the sword of the one true king?
Maybe she does.
Because nobody else knows. It's like, how is he going to figure it out that he has that sword?
Right.
So she's going to meet up with Sid and the chef and Gwen.
And then go back.
Yes.
And then it's just the perfect timing they'll be back.
Yes.
Because maybe in the forest of coincidence, they'll find out that he has this sword.
Exactly. Exactly.
Can we just go back to the Enchanted Forest, too? Please?
Right?
Yes.
I'm still invested in the bear. I need to know if he's found love.
Yes.
Like, there are questions that are unanswered.
I want to know what happened to business after they left.
Yes. Yes. Did they find a new bartender?
Right.
What does he look
These are the
like
important
without a
things.
shirt on?
Can we get a number from him?
What's Kylie Minogue doing?
Right.
Exactly.
Working on a new routine? I don't know. Questions.
So, out of all the numbers, what was your favorite of the 2 episodes?
I actually really like the first one, the one with Neosporin, Neo from Sporn. Yeah, I liked it. We're running out of time. I felt like it was very like wordy and really quick and kind of Sondheimey.
Totally thought
like,
that when I
this
watched
is
it.
a
I was
little,
like, we're going a little more intricate.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are some big words
it.
here. You are rhyming some
And
tough
it was
stuff.
very different than a lot of the numbers we've had so far. Not that the numbers have all been similar by any means, but I feel like it's either been things that I feel like I can identify with Alan Menken, or things that I'm like, this is a direct reference to this particular song from this particular show. And so that was the first one where I was like, oh, and I wasn't thinking Sondheim, but I'm like, now that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where it's more just a general homage.
Yeah. My favorite was the Death production number, because for me it was like, this is, of all of the crazy numbers that they've done so far this season, this one fell the most into the like Mel Brooksy, producersy sort of category. I felt like I could have been watching a Young Frankenstein number.
Yeah. And that was my favorite song as well, for a slightly different reason. I agree with you wholeheartedly with that assessment, but for me it was more the physical beauty of the costumes. I'm such a sucker when fabric flows in that manner, and they were doing it so well. Yeah. And it was just a catchy tune, and I think on a deeper level it was showing Gallivant, like, this was your life. There is literally a random guy you don't know.
Yeah.
And then Madalena, who you hate, and Isabella's pissed at you. You should probably figure that out. And, like, that's him looking back on his life. That's his life flashing before his eyes. And it's like, your dad wasn't even there.
I do like that line, though, where he's like, I don't have any more friends. I was like,
Yeah,
This is it.
No.
random guy.
sorry.
Yeah. So I'm happy he came back to redeem that.
Right.
My favorite number was actually the catfight number. And
Yes.
I mean, just aside from the kind of like one-uppedness of the song, I love it. I love it when insults are put into a song. I think that's just, to me, it was so hilarious. It was so drag queeny.
Yeah.
Where it's like it was literally felt like old school voguing where
Totally,
where
like a drag ball.
Yes.
Yes.
where they were just like trying to one up each other with the insults.
Now I want to see somebody lip sync, 2 queens lip sync to that on the next RuPaul's Drag Race season.
Yes.
Love it.
Make it happen.
Can we do that, please?
Straight diva off. Is
And
what
then
happened.
I have to say an honorable mention to the end song, because I love reprises. What can I say?
Oh, yes.
I love
Amen.
a good reprise.
No, it's a necessary component to the musical theater
It is.
scope.
Right.
And I love
Really
it
good
when
intermission.
I love it when shit gets dark. I have to say that too. I do appreciate. I mean, my favorite Disney villain is Maleficent, who's like basically the Disney villain to kill all Disney villains.
Amen.
Accurate.
So the evil and the more scary or the darker you can make stuff, I'm all on board. I love dark musicals and I love dark humor. So I thought it was a great moment for me where I was like, everything's falling apart. Yes,
Yay!
this is where the drama happens.
I know. I've had people try and contest me on that point about Maleficent. She literally says, "and all the powers of hell."
Yes!
What other Disney villain has said that? Like, girl, you win.
Right.
I mean, the other thing is sheer size. The only other Disney villain I can think of that matches, as far as like, she grows into a dragon, which is like basically the size of a castle.
Yeah, pretty
The
much.
only other Disney villain that does that is Ursula. But
Yeah.
she isn't there for very long and doesn't seem to. It seems more of like an anger thing rather than a like I can actually
all powerful.
Yeah. And she doesn't have any hell demons. She's just 2 eels who are dead by that point in
That's
time.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
So-
And all her captured, creatures
Right.
in her
Who are
lair,
actually
they're
just
all people.
Which is really effed up, Disney.
It's
Just we're getting distracted.
I know. But we could write a whole psychology book on.
We could.
I feel like this is in the realm of this.
It is.
Alan
No,
Menken
it
wrote a
is.
whole lot of
Totally.
music.
Totally.
Speaking of which, we had the Tangled reference in this. Alan Menken wrote the music for Tangled, and we have her pick up a frying pan. She's like, "This is good. You can hit people with it." I
Yes,
was like, "Yeah."
I liked that. That was cute.
That was really cute. Any more thoughts before we go into spoilery predictions? I have some spoilers, and then from those spoilers, I feel like we can make predictions.
Yes.
Spoiler alert!
Yes, turn
Spoiler
it
alert.
off. These are real,
Spoiler
legit
alert.
spoilers. I don't know how
Spoiler
legit they are. They're
Going
from
to
the
happen.
internet.
Well, you know.
It's on the
So, beginning with the spoilers, I read that Gallivant's army of zombies is going to turn against him. So he is going to need to find a new army, and that's where Sid comes in. And what's interesting is Blake says, "Oh, I wish we could revisit the Enchanted Forest." And I'm like, what if Sid gets all the guys from the Enchanted
big gay
Forest?
army.
Yes! I want a big gay army. Make it happen.
I'm so excited right now. Oh my gosh, and they'd be the best dressed soldiers on the planet.
Oh, yes.
And that
If this
musical
doesn't
number.
happen, I'm gonna cry.
Oh my God.
This is gonna happen.
Well, the only other thing I could see happening is getting the dwarves and the giants.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
okay.
But I prefer-
That's not as fun, but that's
I mean,
logical.
Include all of
I
them.
prefer-
Get them all together.
Right? Yeah. Everyone we've
One
ever
big
met.
army.
The pirates
Dwarves,
come
giants,
back.
homos, pirates.
Yes,
Yes.
pirates.
Just all of it.
Bring it
Sid's
all back.
parents. Can we get Sid's whole
Everyone
Sid's
from
land?
Sydneyland,
Yes.
Sydneyland.
Can we just get all of
The
his people
cast of
there?
Sydneyland.
Yeah.
What if he
Please.
does go back to Sydneyland?
He could.
That would be
That's maybe
amazing.
where he went. I mean, where else would you go from there?
Right? Run away to home.
Yeah, home base. Get your
Got a
support.
statue of you there.
Get your head
Seriously.
in the game.
Gotta get your.
And then the other spoiler is that Madalena falls further and further under the powers of Dedu, which causes a rift between her and Gareth. But I think
Right.
we all saw that coming.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That
well,
one
she
makes perfect
promised
sense.
him that she wouldn't do it, and then she did it. And
Right.
that's not a good basis for any relationship.
Right, exactly. She's just not good at relationships.
No.
No, she's not a people person.
No,
Don't
she's
expect
not.
anything else from her.
I also miss. I mean, part of me wants this battle to be so epic that we see people from last season. We haven't gotten a lot of our guest stars from last season. We had Hugh Bonneville, and we had Uncle Jesse, John Stamos.
Via green screen.
We had
I'm not letting that one go.
the worst green screen ever. It was the worst
I feel like
stuff.
intentionally so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we don't have Ricky Gervais.
right.
There were a lot of like fun guest stars, and what happened to the bisexual princess? What was her name?
Oh, yeah. Oh. I don't remember.
Oh,
Princess.
that had the rock number.
Yeah.
That Sheridan
Oh.
Smith
Yes.
played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jubilee.
Jubilee.
Princess
Yeah.
Jubilee.
I
Yes.
feel like there are so many.
It's like we knew the actress's name and her whole plot.
Oh, my.
I feel like there are so many loose ends to tie
Yeah.
up, and you have to. I mean, you also have to figure out what is Isabella going to do, because she has nothing right now. So she also is in need of her own army.
Yeah. I did like that shot that we got of her, that beautiful shot that was actually in Morocco in front of the
Yes.
Hortensia exterior. I was like, oh, so that's why you actually did have to go to Morocco and spend all that time there.
It's a good shot.
So it was worth it.
Didn't green screen that one.
Nope, not at all. You could tell.
I also like that she went to read up on war. I was like, go nerd princess!
Yeah, you better
Do you have any
take to those scrolls.
Yeah.
Just tell me how to survive this with my people and get my land back. That would be super.
Right.
It would have been great if there was like a yellow scroll that was like medieval war for dummies.
Yes!
Like this bright yellow scroll.
Missed opportunities.
There's a Google scroll.
Google scroll.
So yeah, I'm just hoping for some sort of big army to come, and for Richard to find out that he is the leader of the one true.
Yes.
He's the one
I
true
feel
king
like-
to unite them all.
Yeah, that definitely has to happen because there was build up to that with him saying, if I could be a king again,
I like
I
that.
would do
his-
so
And
much
do it right.
differently and
Yeah.
do it right.
And he says, seems just yesterday I was the worst villain this land has ever seen. That was weird.
That's weird.
That happened.
Yeah, we have so many little nuggets in there to show that he's going to be the one true king again,
Yeah.
and then he would be a good king
Yeah.
With this dragon.
with his dragon, Tad
Tad
Cooper.
We're all really invested in Tad Cooper. I like that we share this together because it would be awkward if one of us was like not on Team Tad.
Yes,
Right.
That
yeah,
would be like
yeah.
really uncomfortable.
I'm glad we're all here. We're all here.
We're all in this.
He wasn't
We're
in
all
the episode
together.
at all.
We're all
How did I make 2 High School Musical? It's because it's the 10th anniversary.
It is.
It was just last week.
is a big
No big
time
deal.
all
No big deal.
around.
No big deal. Whatever.
This is the right audience.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We're all Team Tad Cooper, and we're all Team Big Gay Army.
Yeah. We have our priorities.
Yeah,
We do.
exactly.
Neo would be proud of us.
Exactly. It's true. There was one more thing I was going to say, and then it completely escaped my brain, so I don't know what to say. Why don't Michelle tell me where the people can find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Michelle_Cullen.
And you can find me on Twitter at Blake McIver.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at Susannah_Kim, on Instagram at Susannah Kim.
Oh, and I'm not here next week, but Blake will be leading the charge, and I'll be live tweeting the show, but I'll be in Disney World.
Woo! It's such a good reason. That's
It
such
is.
the best excuse,
Yes.
especially for this show.
Yeah,
The fact
yeah.
that-
Exactly. I'll be live tweeting from watching it in Disney World.
Yes.
Awesome.
Amazing.
123jackieb.com. Thank you guys so much for listening into Gallivant After Show and the show and all the things.
All of it.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.